What's up, YouTube? I'm back. I wanted to come on and talk about my cut. It's been 2 weeks since I updated y'all, so this will be the end of week 7 and I think the 4th update. So at the end of my 6th week, which would have been on 11/12, when I lost 0.9 pounds, I was super excited about that, especially considering that week was the week of not only my birthday, but my daughter's birthday, and I did indulge in some wine on my birthday. I didn't go crazy, but I did have a few glasses, and on my daughter's birthday, I actually was really good. I didn't even have any of her cake. It just didn't really, I mean, it looked good. It's not like I wouldn't have eaten some if I wasn't cutting, but I am, so I don't know, it wasn't worth it. But then this last week, which would have been 11/19 weigh-in yesterday, I only lost 0.1, and so that was a little bit disappointing. But it's tough to say that it's disappointing because it's still a loss, so it's like, how are you disappointed in a loss? It is only 0.1, so it's tough, but I'm dealing with it, and I'm trying to look at the bigger picture and just kind of keep in mind that the 2 weeks averaged together would be a ½ pound loss each week, and that's pretty good. So overall, 1 pound in 2 weeks isn't bad. I mean, it's not by any means fast. It's just not bad. So it just got me thinking, though, what the hell happened this week? I went from 0.9 to 0.1. What did I do differently? So I'm back into my FYM notebook that I've shown you guys a couple times, and I did overeat on carbs pretty heavily one day. I was over by like 70 grams, which is a lot. So there was that, but I have a couple other days where I was a little bit under on carbs, so I was kind of hoping it would balance out, but I guess not. I also think that in general, just my life has been a little bit more stressful lately. I kind of have a couple big decisions up in the air, and when you get extra stressed in your life or just a higher level of stress than what you're used to on your day-to-day, the hormone inside your body, cortisol, will spike. That spike really causes your insulin to spike, and then your insulin basically tells your body to store any incoming sugars or fats rather than utilize them for energy, or even what I'm going for, which is go to stored fat for energy. So it kind of works the opposite way. So cortisol is pretty much my freaking enemy at this point. So trying to keep stress low, which is a huge task considering, but it's all good. Just trying to reason it out and be aware so that I can kind of get my head wrapped around it and realize that it's not necessarily anything that I did wrong. It can be a lot of factors that lead up to it, and remember, a loss is a loss. So this 0.1 actually isn't anything wrong. It's good. Even a maintain is good. I mean, anything other than gaining is good. I also did end up taking like an extra rest day this last week. It was a rest day. I didn't lift, but I did go in for cardio. So it's what I would consider an active rest day. So that's a few extra 100-calorie deficit that I would have had that I didn't have. So, I mean, all these factors really add up. Like I said, just try and take a step back, look at the bigger picture, realize it's a 1 pound loss for 2 weeks, and the average of that is good. I also try and remind myself when I start feeling like I'm getting down on myself, just like, what did you do? What did you do? Like, my first instinct was to go back and look at what I had done. I also go back and look at what I do good. So this week I went to the gym 6 times. Like I said, one of those days was cardio only. So I lifted 5 times, went to the gym 6 times. I tracked my food every single day. I remembered to take my fiber supplement every single day. I did really great drinking my water this week. So I know that there are some things that I did really good, and there are others that I didn't necessarily do super good, like that night that I let the Fruit Loops get to me. That was my carb source that night, Fruit Loops. Like I said, just trying to like keep it in mind. So overall, that makes a 4.3 pound loss since October 1st, and it has me sitting at 130 even. I am so bound and determined to get into that next decade. I want it so bad. So this week, I'm going to make sure I keep things tight and on point, and it's a little tough because it's Thanksgiving, and if you're an American, then you celebrate this holiday with me, and that kind of leads me into the second part of this video, which is tips for how to stay on track for Thanksgiving dinner. Firstly, I really, really believe that you shouldn't let tracking your macros or cutting calories or dieting or any of that kind of stuff hinder your family experiences. But on the same page, I do not agree with that whole living life equals eating bad food thing. You don't need to eat bad food to enjoy the company that you're with. Grandma Sue doesn't give a crap if you're overeating 5 slices of cake. That doesn't make her like being next to you more. You stuffing your face with cheese balls before the dinner doesn't make Cousin Hank want to come hang out with you. It's not about the food. The food is just extra on top. It's about the people that you're with. Now, that being said, back to the original point, you don't want it to actually hinder what you're doing. That means that if you feel yourself getting incredibly anxious, or you're embarrassed, or you don't feel like bringing your food scale, that's okay. It's okay to be a little bit looser one day, which brings me to my first point. Plan ahead, and that's a little bit overarching, but plan ahead in knowing if you're going to be tracking that day, knowing if you're going to be estimating that day, or knowing if you're just giving yourself a free day on that particular day. I also recommend if you are tracking, go ahead and estimate, track the morning when you wake up before you even really get to the party or the house, or if it's at your house before you have people come over. That way, that's not something that you're thinking about when people are around. You've already kind of taken care of that. You're estimating ahead of time, and you can always go back and tweak that later when nobody's around. Everybody's on their phone, so I mean, you can kind of sneakily tweak it a little bit without feeling too much like, hang on, wait a second. I gotta weigh out those potatoes. Nobody touched those potatoes. I gotta weigh those out. So maybe not make as much of a big hoopla about it. However, if you're part of a family like mine where everybody knows what I've been doing for all these years and they also do kind of the same healthy lifestyle, we all kind of weigh out food. They don't necessarily track macros, but they track calories, like that kind of stuff. I don't feel weird weighing out my food. They know that that's what I would do. So it's all kind of situational. But for me, what I plan on doing on Thanksgiving is having a planned high carb day and tracking all of my food. Another way that you can plan ahead is this week, right now, leading up to Thanksgiving. I wrote in so that I would have one extra low carb day this week to help combat my higher carb day in kind of anticipation of not being able to track everything precisely because I won't necessarily be the one putting all the ingredients into every single dish, but I can still estimate. I feel good having an extra low day to help to combat the maybe miscalculations. So that is kind of how I'm mentally preparing myself for the extra food, the extra carbs. I always say carbs because I feel like when I go for that extra food, it always tends to be a highly dense carb source rather than a highly dense fat source or protein source. I feel like most people are like that. And I wrote down a few things when I was walking on the treadmill, which by the way, it is extremely hard to walk on the treadmill at a somewhat fast pace and type and think, and I'm a freaking idiot because I seriously almost like went off the edge of the treadmill. So you guys better appreciate these tips. So we got eat low-cal leading up to it, decide if you're tracking or not, enter the food into MyFitnessPal first thing in the morning. Here's a good one. Know what's being served. If you're not the host or the hostess, offer to bring a dish or two, make that dish macro-friendly, know exactly what's in it. That can be one of your personal go-to dishes. It would be helpful to yourself to make something that you are looking forward to eating. So if that's a less sugary dessert or healthy vegetable appetizer tray, like you tend to snack first, or you really look forward to the sweet tooth, and you know you have something safe and something to look forward to. And you don't have to tell anybody that you subbed in low-cal sugar and you didn't put butter, you used coconut oil. You don't have to tell anybody any of that crap. For like 95% of the time when I make food, nobody can tell the difference if I sub in healthier ingredients or not. Like nobody can freaking tell. If you go into it knowing what's really important for you to eat, just prioritizing for yourself, maybe you have food memories attached in Thanksgiving, or maybe you just really look forward to grandma's mashed potatoes all year. If there is something that is very important to you, that's fine. Prioritize eating that. Make sure you track that. Make sure you portion that out. Also to that, if you find yourself with the inclination to overeat that particular item for fear of there won't be any left afterward because everybody likes grandma's mashed potatoes. Here's a secret. Hide some. I always go into the kitchen, get a little bit extra in a Tupperware or on a plate and hoard that shit in the fridge. And then when I go to leave, I know that I have an extra serving of leftovers and I didn't need to eat 2 or 3 servings at dinner because I have that in the fridge waiting for me and I don't have to give everybody at the table the evil eye when they go back for their seconds and maybe even thirds. Food stash hiding thing has worked out well for me in the past. I have a family that tends to go back for the seconds and the thirds. And so, yeah, knowing that I have that in there, it's almost kind of like a safety net feeling. Guess I have 2 more tips. So if something that you do take on your plate doesn't taste as good as you hoped it would or as you remember it tasting, it's not worth the calories or the macros or whatever it is, stop eating it. I promise you, everybody is so consumed with what they are consuming that nobody is going to notice if you finish that potato salad or if you took a seconds of green beans. Nobody's going to give you a hard time for it. And if they do, tell them that that was your second helping. You finished the first helping and you just couldn't finish the second helping. But seriously though, nobody's going to give you a hard time unless you're like under the age of 10, in which case you should not be worrying about dieting. But I'm just saying, like, as adults, nobody scrutinizes other people's plates. It just doesn't work that way. So if it doesn't taste good, stop eating it. Get yourself something else good, worth it, worth the points, worth the macros, worth the calories, however you want to say it. And then that kind of leads into don't waste your calories on liquids. Like, unless you are really looking forward to that excellent wine that's going to be cracked open, or, you know, dad saves whiskey for Thanksgiving, or it's something really extra special to you. If it's extra special to you, then yeah, enjoy that. Have those liquid calories, but be deliberate about it. What I'm saying is you don't need to be drinking a Coke. You don't need to be sipping on the kids' apple cider, randomly ingesting these extra calories that you're not actually even really noticing or getting any type of satiation from. Leave those calories alone and go directly to the pie. And go directly to the calories you'll enjoy. And on that note of liquid calories and drinking, make sure you're staying hydrated. Drink all the water. It'll help you feel fuller, first of all, but secondly, it'll also help combat all the extra sodium that you're intaking and stop you from holding on to that extra water weight the day afterward. Plus, it's always just good to drink our water. So make sure you're staying hydrated too. Remember why you're there to celebrate. We're there to celebrate Thanksgiving as Americans. We're just there to celebrate our Thanksgiving, our traditions of building this country, celebrating our friends and our family, making new memories, reliving old memories, laughing, all of that stuff. And none of that has to do with food. I know this particular holiday really does focus on traditional foods, pie, turkey, mashed potatoes, etc., etc. But the day itself doesn't have to revolve around that for you. You can let the rest of your family do however they are going to do. But you do you, and you keep in mind for your goals. So I don't know about you guys. This Thanksgiving is going to be delicious, and I am not going to be the one that gets stuffed. So I hope that these tips helped you. I have no idea how many they were. Probably will go back and count and then number them. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll let you know how this week goes in my next cut update. We're at the end of week 7. I think I said the cut would last like 15 or 16 weeks, so we're almost at the halfway point, which really means I need to get my ass in gear. I've only lost 4.3 pounds over 7 weeks. That's not a staggering amount. I need to go. Anyway, good luck with this week. Keep eating towards your goals, and I'll see you soon.